Well, listeners, in case you didn't get enough sports today, here's an ad break that'll tell you how to watch even more sports. YouTube is the new home of NFL Sunday Ticket. And if you sign up now, you'll get our lowest full season price of the year. Just go to youtube.com/presale to get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket. Watch your favorite teams out-of-market Sunday afternoon games, exclusively on YouTube and YouTube TV. All right, enough about sports. Go get more sports. Terms and embargoes apply. Offer ends June 6th. No refunds.
This is the Sick'em Podcast, powered by Rogue Media Network. The Sick'em Podcast is a production of Baylor Athletics. Now, here are your hosts, Katie Smith and the voice of the Bears, John Morris.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's Sick'em Podcast, powered by Rogue Media Network. Glad you're with us this week. John Morris, of course, Katie Smith is here. Let's find another K. Smith to have as our guest this week.
It's a wonderful idea.
How about down
you
the
can
hall?
Never have too many K. Smiths in a room.
You said it.
I love the last name Smith because I think this is the third time this week I've made the joke like Sister Smith with Lauren down the hall. There's all kinds of Smiths. But this is one of my very favorite Smiths in Krista Smith, our director for character formation, somewhat new to Baylor, but already making such a big splash since July 22. So, Krista, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Exciting time of year right now.
This is fun. We'll talk about the Golden Bruiser Awards coming up next week. A true production. I mean, that is a real production.
It really is.
Yeah, but that's fun and a neat deal. But we'll talk about your area, the director, the character formation area, which is really cool. You and I were talking before we started recording. I mean, it's one of the, I'm not going to say unique to Baylor, but it's one of the real neat aspects of our athletic department.
Absolutely. It plays a huge part in the student-athlete experience. I mean, they come here and they know that they're going to be more than just a student and more than just an athlete, but we're going to focus on them as people, and we're going to develop them during their time here, and it's really, really special what we have the opportunity to do.
Good.
Yeah. What's maybe something different about Baylor student athletes that you've noticed? Maybe the type of student athletes that are drawn to Baylor, that want to play here, kind of what have you seen in that space?
Absolutely, yeah. I think one thing that parents too, along with their student athletes, that we've even noticed during the recruiting process when they're just on their visits, is that they are like shocked at how passionate we are and how intentional we are about their development.
Wow.
You know, whether it's career or leadership, when we share what we're doing and when we share the Baylor Built program and what that looks like, I mean, they're just like, that was great. Like,
That's great.
Yeah, like they're very impressed with it, and we can't take credit for that. That was all Marcus and Corey and athletics department staff members and campus staff members who really were intentional about that in 2018 of developing the Baylor Built program and the entire blueprint, and just so much intentionality went into it. So
I mean, my jaw drops when I see all of the things that y'all are doing with our student athletes. How do you balance all of those different events on top of their schedules? Like, what does that kind of look like for you and your team that kind of champions that effort?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think for student athletes, it's cool that we do, for all of our fall student athletes, we do their programming in the spring. And then for all of our winter and spring student athletes, we do all of their mandatory programming in the fall. So it's very specific to making sure that they're not totally overwhelmed. I think another unique aspect is that our freshman student athletes, our incomers, they get all of their programming done in the STL 1201 class. So as they transition, they're not doing all of this mandatory programming in the evening on top of kind of transitioning into college and understanding what the differences are between high school. So I think that's a really unique piece too, that we're intentional about. Let's get you transitioned in. You'll get all you need to get through the class as far as your development goes, and then you'll kind of jump in to your mandatory programming after you've had a full year here at Baylor. And then as far as our staff goes, it's a grind. I'm so grateful for our team because it's no easy task. You know, it's a lot of evenings, and we front load all of our programming too. So it's really 8 to 10 weeks of 3 to 4 nights a week.
Oh, wow.
And so it's a grind, and I'm grateful for our team, for our team's passion, you know, to do it well, and do it with love. You know, we love seeing those student athletes in the evenings. They get there and they're kind of exhausted when they get there, and then by the end of it, they're hyped up and they're excited about what they just learned and how it's going to be able to impact them in their future. So it's really neat.
Yeah.
tell everybody about your team, who you have in character formation.
Absolutely, yeah. So we have Lindsay Fortner as our associate director. She oversees our career development area. And then we have Karina Barantis, who oversees our social responsibility and community engagement area. And then last but certainly not least, we have Malcolm Givens, who oversees our personal skills area. And he's also the instructor for that STL 1201 class that I mentioned. So he's had a unique opportunity to build relationships with all those freshmen and incoming student athletes. And then Marissa Waters is our assistant coordinator for character formation. She has about a week and a half left with us, so very sad about that.
So
but
sad.
Her time has come, and she actually has an incredible opportunity ahead of her at Texas Tech. So we are
so exciting,
so blessed and so grateful for that opportunity for her, because she's well deserving of it.
Good.
So
Good luck, Marissa. And you mentioned Corey and Marcus. A shout out to Corey Bolts, who's still off on maternity leave. Corey, we're happy for you. And Marcus is Marcus Sedberry, who you have a work relationship background with going back to Arkansas.
Yes, somewhat. We kind of always missed each other.
Oh, you did? Okay,
we
I
never
gotcha.
really. Well, it's kind of a running joke I have with him. Like, I was a student athlete there at Arkansas, and I didn't know you, Marcus. Like, were you really doing your job, Marcus?
That's good.
I would love to hear Marcus's response to that.
Marcus, I hope we'll send him this podcast.
Oh yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
But it's really cool because even though, I mean, we follow each other, we've been following each other on social media for years, so we know each other. We've talked, we know each other. But like at Arkansas, literally, I probably never actually saw his face and had a conversation with him. So.
That's great.
But I mean, it's been really cool to see what he did at Arkansas, and then when he came to Baylor, all that he's done at Baylor. So just have a lot of respect for him and for Corey and what they've been able to do.
Yeah, same here. Shout out to Marcus, who's now at Wisconsin. Marcus, 309 Ranch Gate. We love that. But he started what is now the Golden Bruisers here. He started that at Arkansas. We'll get to that in just a little bit. You were a student athlete at Arkansas.
I was.
What sport?
I was a volleyball student athlete.
Volleyball. Fantastic.
Volleyball girls, we love each other.
Play volleyball. What can we say?
I'll just sit out and you girls have a discussion.
Get out of here, J-Mo. No, you can stay. You can stay. But truly, like, what your time as a student athlete at Arkansas? What about that made you want to do this as a career?
Absolutely, great question. So, I had a very unique experience at Arkansas. I played volleyball my freshman year. I quit after my freshman year, and just really was struggling with identity and struggling with mental health, and then realized very soon after once we had a new coaching staff change. After that freshman year is when I gave my life to Christ. That's when I went to the Ultimate Training Camp through AIA in Colorado, and really realized, like, you love sports and you love what you've done your whole life, but you've been doing it like within your strength. Like you've tried to get to where you are on your own. And I think I knew I had a relationship with the Lord. Like I knew he was a part of my journey, but he wasn't at the center of my life. He wasn't at the center of my journey. And so by the time the new coach came, he offered me the opportunity to try out my junior year to then play again my senior year, and started every game senior year. Loved it. It was a completely freshman year was just a negative experience, a negative culture and environment. And then by the time my senior year came around, it was so positive, and just the team and the culture was just incredible. So I think what made me passionate about wanting to come into this field was I understand the value of a positive student-athlete experience and a negative student-athlete experience.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And if we, in character formation and student-athlete development across the country, have this really unique opportunity to care about our student-athletes and pour into them as people. And I value that so much because as a former student-athlete myself, I know what it's like to be in the grind and go, and not feel like anyone takes the time to pause to ask, like, how are you doing? Like, how are you, you know, and get to know your family and just really pour into you from that aspect and care about you in that aspect. So I really developed a passion for what we do just through like you said, through previous experiences, and it really fueled my fire.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, how cool that our student athletes have an example like Krista to look up to, who's lived it, who's seen it, that now you can ask those questions. When I see the people in our character formation office and our SACE office, I'm just so encouraged that, like, these are the faces of Baylor that our student athletes get to work with every day.
And you've got that perspective that I'm sure, you know, they can come and talk to you about what they're going through. You've got the empathy, I'm sure, with a lot of our student athletes of what they're going through now.
Yeah, our entire team. Our entire team has unique experiences that we can relate to them. And And I think SACE as a whole is so incredible at that. Like, just everyone welcomes them. It's open door policy, and they know that they can come and have fun, and they know that they can come and be real, and it's really, really special.
What are maybe some of the challenges that you think our student athletes face, even though it hasn't been that long since you were in their position, but that college athletics that they kind of experience now?
Yeah, I'd say a lot of things. You know, the transition out of college athletics is difficult. Preparing them for that transition is really not a challenge, but it's like you have to think through, like, how can I utilize what I've been through to really help them to understand what that transition may feel like or be like. And then, you know, mental health is always a thing that just meeting the standard of excellence and meeting those standards, whether that be in the classroom or in athletics. So I think it's a few things. Identity too, like, is your identity in your sport, or is it in Christ, or just trying to think through those things with them is also a unique opportunity.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The character formation area, really big here at Baylor. We've talked about that. Part of that is part of SACE is the SAC, Student Athlete Advisory Council. Tell us about that. Yeah,
so SAC has a really cool opportunity to utilize their voice to make true change. So the Student Athlete Advisory Committee acts as the liaison between our entire student athlete body and not just the athletics department and our executive team here within Baylor Athletics, but the Big 12 and also the NCAA.
Wow.
So the voices that they can, when they utilize their voice, they're able to make change, not just to better the student athlete experience here at Baylor, but also to make change at a Big 12 level, at a conference level, at a national level. So they have a really unique opportunity. They've done a great job this year of putting on different events, from mental health initiatives, diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives, tailgates, a bunch of different things. So they're a really special group. The coaches decide which leaders on their team they want to be a part of that group. So it's a group that's decided on, that their coaches are passionate about them having that leadership opportunity.
Yeah, how cool, and what incredible experience for our student athletes to get outside of their sport, but to have a voice and to be leaders here on this campus. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys have broken them into different kind of boards, different committees, one of those being Golden Bruisers. Does that conversation start at, the first day of school? I mean, such a production. What does that look like for them?
Yeah. So they were the ones that gave us our theme. So the theme for this year is sneaker ball.
So fun.
Sneaker ball.
Sneaker ball.
Love it.
So it's been a blast just rolling with that from a creative standpoint. And I mean, we already know, like, the Baylor way is like Fresh Kick Friday and all that, so it's already valued here. So it's really cool, like, from a creative standpoint, how we've been able to roll with that. Shout out to our creative team for all their great work. But yeah, so they pick the theme, they help with the script, they provide the majority of our award presenters who present at the show. They have a say in food ideas, all the ideas. Like, they really were intentional about giving us those ideas so that we can run with as much as possible. Student athlete raffle is something that'll be new this year too, which was an idea that came from them. We really wanted a pair of sneakers as the raffle award, but we figured out some ways to get some raffle winners for this year.
So fun.
Exciting stuff.
And the origin of the Golden Bruisers, I think I mentioned, it really goes back to Marcus at Arkansas, right?
Yes, it sure does.
Were you part of it up there?
I was.
Yeah.
I was a student athlete who participated in it. I was then on staff who assisted in running it and leading it. It had adjusted to the Razorback formal instead of the Hawksbee Awards the last year I was there. So it's been really cool to be able to see the Hawksbees at Arkansas and now see, I mean, literally the script looks exactly the same, like so many similarities between the two, which I'm grateful for.
That's a good deal. All right, if somebody's tuning in, they're saying, I mean, we're talking like everybody knows what the Golden Bruiser
That's a good point. I mean,
are.
everyone should,
They should, yes. Tell us what that entails, what that night is like.
Yes, so the Golden Bruisers is really just a night to celebrate our individual accomplishments, athletic accomplishments, and specifically within our 4 pillars of academic achievement, athletic success, character formation, and spiritual growth. So really, really fun night full of entertainment, full of food, awards, and fun. It's a way to celebrate all of Baylor athletics and the incredible accomplishments that we've accomplished this past year. It has an SB style feel, so that's kind of fun. This will be the first year that I know of that we're doing banquet style seating. So we're switching it up a little bit this year. We're excited to see how that will look.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a night to celebrate Baylor Athletics and all the incredible accomplishments of our student athletes.
And how are those awards voted on? Is it voted by the student athletes, the staff? Who gets to weigh in on those winners?
Absolutely. So all coaches have the opportunity to nominate student athletes.
Cool.
SAC, who also communicates to their team to get nominees. So all of our student athletes, all of our coaches have the opportunity to nominate.
Cool.
And tell people, like, some of the categories.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Who haven't, I mean, they're not inside. They haven't been there.
Mm-hmm.
You've got some great categories to recognize these student athletes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everything from Rookie of the Year, Student Athlete of the Year, Scholar Athlete of the Year, and then some unique ones, Comeback of the Year, ACTS 2024 Award, the Missions Award. So I think it's just really unique that it's not just about athletics, right? Like, it's about your academics. It's about athletics. It's about character formation, what you were able to achieve in the community, what you're able to achieve from a spiritual growth standpoint and mission work standpoint. So I've really loved that different aspect to Golden Bruisers here.
And for the award show aspect, I mean, your name gets called. Our student athletes are going up there making an acceptance speech.
Yep.
Well, I mean, is that something they're excited about? I mean, how cool to do that.
Yeah.
It is. It's a really unique opportunity. Some of them are like, how many people? 500, 600 people? We're like, yes, 500, 600 people, but you got it.
Yeah, but you got
so
it.
it gives them an incredible opportunity to get up there and like I've told them, like, you get to celebrate your peers in a super unique way, like, be yourself, be your authentic self up there and have fun with it. And so it's a really cool opportunity for them.
I love it how into it they are. I mean, they get dressed up for this event too.
Oh yes.
I mean,
to the nines. I love it.
Yes, exactly. Like, I look at some of these guys and girls, and I don't recognize them. I mean, I would in a baseball uniform or a volleyball uniform or something like that, but. Whoa, hey, y'all clean up really well.
Well, and hopefully this year it'll help that they'll be having on fresh kicks. So
that's true. You might recognize
You'll be able to recognize them a little bit.
So still the level of formality, but you pair it with a fun pair of sneakers.
Exactly. So semi-formal with your freshest kicks.
Oh,
and your freshest
I'm
fit.
starting to try to wonder what my freshest kicks are. I'm not sure I have many fresh kicks.
Katie, was this here when you were a student athlete?
It was cool hearing you talk about the transition, because I want to say my 5th year was the first year they did it. And it really was, we were used to having this awards banquet.
Yeah.
But it was kind of the, you go to the Farrell Center where you are every day, and it's very normal. And just the jump that the event took, and it kind of turned from this, it's just an event at the end of the year, to something that everyone's involved in, everyone's looking forward to. And so I think I remember when it happened, Mac just talking about how much he wanted that to be a part of our student athlete experience, which is really cool, because it is something that then when our student athletes leave, I think it really is one of those kind of like crowning memories of their student athlete career.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Even in experiencing it at Arkansas, of just even seeing your teammate go up on stage and you're like, let's go. Like, you're just excited to see them shine. And whether it's them presenting an award or whether it's them being a finalist for an award, like, you're just excited to celebrate your teammates. And it's really, really special. It's something you definitely don't forget.
Yeah, absolutely.
And make no mistake, it's competitive also. I get that feel for some, especially for the team awards, best GPA, some of those. I mean, there's a level of pride that goes with winning one of those.
Oh yes. We're very intentional about all of the academic pieces. The spiritual sports ministry gives us our spiritual formation, or our spiritual growth pieces, and it's wild, because a lot of, like, if they hear that they're a finalist, whenever we sent the award finalist emails, they're like, I'm a finalist. Like, they know that it's a big deal, and they're more than excited about it. So. It's really unique. Our Golden Bruisers admin committee is the one that has to narrow down, like, who are our final 4, who are our final 3, and so it's always challenging. We always have to go through, like, second turn, or like second try, third try to get everyone, because there are so many ties sometimes.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So it's fun to kind of work through it and get your final 3 or your final 4.
And you've got King McClure back.
We do.
As the host, big time
fun.
ESPN guy. So
we do.
that's
We're
really cool.
excited.
You do a good job there with the hosts. I mean, you go out and get some big name hosts here.
Yes, in the past as well, and we're excited. King actually had the opportunity to be our guest speaker for one of our Leadership Institute sessions this past year, and so that's how I got to know him a little bit more personally, just in my short time here at Baylor. But we're excited to have him. We're excited that he'll be in his home, like his home at the Farrell Center, and just the connections that he'll be able to make with our student athletes, I think will be unique.
Visiting with Krista Smith, Director of Character Formation. The Golden Bruiser Awards come up next week. May 4th is the date, depending on when you're listening to us. We are glad to have her on the Sikkim podcast. I've had the privilege of calling games, telling stories about Baylor Athletics for a long time. Storytelling is an art, and there's a network in town doing just that. Rogue Media Network has produced over 80 original podcasts and shows, ranging from comedy, true crime, business, and sports. If there's a story to tell, Rogue Media Network is telling it. You can find this podcast and all the other great Rogue Media Network shows on Spotify, on Apple, on YouTube, or anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Krista Smith, our Director of Character Formation, spending time with us today in the middle of a very, very busy time of year for them. So we talked Golden Bruisers. That's right around the corner. But let's go a little more into other programming that Character Formation does. I think we all hear this, preparing champions for life, and you guys kind of do the tangible pieces of that. So maybe just talk about a few of the different sessions that are offered throughout the fall, throughout the spring for our student athletes.
Absolutely, yeah. So career development is a unique pillar for us in the sense of we have career coaches on our team who oversee every single team. Like there's a career coach who oversees a specific team, and they're there to really help them not just focus on, getting your resume done, getting your cover letter done when the time comes, but also who can we connect you with? Who can we help you build a relationship with? When you transition out of here, let's go through the list. Financially, are you good? Transportation-wise, are you good? Healthcare, insurance, those types of things, are you good? So, we're very intentional about walking through and making sure they have no blind spots, addressing those areas of concern they may have through their transition. And then in addition to just truly preparing them for that transition, while they're here, everything from mock interviews, giving them the opportunity to interview with employers who are in the same career field that they desire to be in and pursue is really unique. And then networking night, right? Getting them in the same room, getting them to build those skills of building those relationships and knowing what questions to ask, and just how to leverage your experiences and your strengths to make that build that bridge to what you want to do. So all that we do within career development is really unique. And I think leadership development is super cool. I've absolutely loved overseeing leadership development because it's really comprised of the Leadership Institute, which is an 8-week program that we put on for our student athletes. The head coaches and coaching staffs pick which leaders on their team they want to participate in it. So whether they're they could be leaders on the team currently, or they can have the potential to be leaders on their team, and we really get to pour into leaders on our teams. And we talk about everything from emotional intelligence to how to handle crucial conversations. What are your strengths? What are your values? The way seeing them from week 1 to week 8 and celebrating them when they share their leadership statement aloud to their coaches and their peers and our SAY staff is really unique. It's really cool to see them grow and develop. And then leadership retreat is our 2-day weekend retreat that we offer to all student athletes. And that's another great opportunity for us to pour into them. Everything from having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, how to leverage your strengths in whatever you're doing, whether it's as an athlete or in life. It's really cool to be able to, and we get out on the obstacle course, we're outside, we're having fun. Like it's a really unique, really, really unique. And then personal skills, I'd say the biggest thing that we focus on there is financial education. So with the Alston money they get, and everything with all that they're going to do in their time beyond Baylor, like giving them the resources and the education and the knowledge to know what you could do with this money that you're getting. So that's another cool opportunity. And then, of course, social responsibility, all of our DEI work, all of our real relationship talks that we do to meet our Title IX requirement with the NCAA, and talking about healthy relationships versus unhealthy relationships. I think it's so cool that we get to have these conversations with student athletes, or facilitate conversations with student athletes on their teams that dig deep, right? Like it talks about the things that matter in life. And I think that's really unique. And then obviously community engagement, being intentional about getting them out in the community and giving back to all of those who give so much to them and support them so well.
Very well said.
I know. That was
incredible. Put that on a poster, right?
I love
Put that on the wall. But it does all go into, what Mac tells us to do here is prepare champions for life, and you're doing that in a very practical way.
Mm-hmm. It's really special. It's cool to see, like, even just post-program testimonials that they share, or at the end of, our programs when we say, hey, like, we survey all of our programs because we're very intentional about wanting to evolve and enhance them. And so we always do our surveys for feedback, and, they'll put quotes of, like, just best, like, I vividly remember one after Leadership Institute this semester of, like, the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Wow.
And so it's really cool to see the power that our programming has on our student athletes and in truly preparing them to be champions for life through the programming that we do.
Wow. Yeah, we talk about this preparing champions for life. What is it like for you and your team when maybe a year after a kid graduates and a student athlete comes back, or you hear what they're doing, or gosh, even further down the road, they're becoming parents, things like that? What are those feelings like for you guys?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't had that opportunity yet at Baylor since I've only been here for 8 months.
Fair.
But in my previous experiences at Arkansas, seeing the ones that are here in Texas, and when I came to Baylor, they're like, we're going to be right down 35 from each other. So it's cool to see, like, them, and even too, like, them sharing, this impacted me. Like, what we did over there, like, impact Whole Women is something I did at Arkansas, which was a female empowerment program, like how that's played into them in the work field as a female. So it's really, really cool to be able to build those relationships with them in a unique way when they're here, and then see them just blossom and just grow into the people that they're meant to be.
Yeah, how cool.
Great program here at Baylor, and I'm guessing other schools maybe see from a distance what we're doing. Do you get calls from other schools saying, hey, help us with this, or how could we start a program like this?
Yes, I've actually, in my short time here, have gotten a lot of emails and a lot of calls, and I feel like I've taken every single one of them, because I mean, even beyond Baylor, even beyond here, like, this is the passion, right? It's a passion to help student athletes realize their potential. And the reality is that student athletes don't know what they don't know. I was one of those myself. So I think the unique opportunity we have to pour into them and share the experiences, the knowledge, the skills really goes a long way for them in their lives, to that preparing champions for life, concept. But yeah, I'd say, I mean, I've even had, like, NFL director of player developments reach out.
Wow. Nice.
And it's just like, wow, like, D1's on the complete opposite side of the country, Maine. So it's really unique that people, and it's who you know, right? Like, I had a friend in grad school who I went to St. Thomas with in Miami, Florida, who knew this guy that knows that guy that's trying to do the same thing she's trying to do as director of student athlete development. So it's cool that the relationships you're able to build, and then how you're able to help people. I find a lot of joy in that.
Wow.
Yeah, how cool that this program has had such an impact on Baylor student athletes, but then people all across the country. You mentioned your faith in the way that kind of changed during your time as a student athlete. What is it like being at a place like Baylor, where that's not only something you can talk about, but are encouraged to talk about, and it's a pillar that your team focuses on?
It gives so much joy. It gives so much joy. It was a huge draw to why I wanted to come here. I honestly didn't think anything could take me away from the University of Arkansas. I mean, we named our daughter Layla Faye. Faye is after Fayetteville. Like, we were dead set. Like, we're gonna be Fayettevilleans for life.
Fayettevilleans, is that actually
I made that up.
Okay,
no,
I was like, yeah, me.
Definitely just made that up. But we didn't think anything could take us away from the University of Arkansas. And when I came on my visit and saw the culture and saw the just when you see a good culture, you see people, you see the faith aspect. Like, it's just something you notice, it's something you see. And so it was really unique and really special. And I knew if I'm going to leave one special place to go to any other place, it really needs to be special. So grateful to be here, grateful to, what Corey and Marcus were able to do through the Baylor Built program. Like you all said, it's impacting Baylor student athletes, but it's impacting student athletes all across the country. And I think it's just, when you have a passion for this and what you do and truly developing student athletes, it gives you joy. And the faith aspect is just the cherry on top of the cake. Like, it's just, you get to relate to them in a way of, I was there. I was there in that place of relying on my own strength. I was in that place of thinking I had to perform for others and perform for the audience. But sharing that experience of, you will have freedom when you play and compete for an audience of one. like that will give you joy, that will give you peace, that will give you freedom, and it's really unique to be able to share those experiences and make those connections with our student athletes.
Wow. Well, we're biased, but we know Baylor is a special place, and Baylor Athletics is a special place also. And we're glad you're a part of it. You mentioned Layla Faye,
so
named after Fayetteville. Tell us about your family.
Yeah, so my husband Dionte is from the Bahamas. We actually just went this past Christmas for the first time, me and my daughter's first time. So we absolutely loved meeting his family.
Christmas.
Fun place to visit the in-laws.
Oh yes. And so yeah, from the Bahamas, and then I'm from San Antonio, born and raised. So that's where my whole family is, and. We knew that as Layla Faye was getting older, we realized the value in having family nearby. So we were like, Bahamas, Texas, like which one? You know? So the Lord really just worked it out and opened the door here, and so we're happy to be here. We love being closer to family. We love the community. So it's been a great journey so far.
Very cool. Well, thanks for sharing with us. We appreciate it. Look forward to the Golden Bruisers on May 4th. That'll be fun.
Wear your sneakers.
And for people listening, you know, it's not open to the public, can't be, but watch social media, watch our website. You'll get a good glimpse of what's going on May 4th.
Absolutely.
That's fun. The creative team really, I mean, it is the play-by-play. I remember thinking that last year when I was very pregnant, not there, that you could keep up with everything.
Yeah, very good. Krista, thanks very much.
Of course. Thank you all so much.
Have you been looking for a new podcast to listen to? Are you interested in true crime, funny one-star reviews, or inspiring stories? What about the history of Waco or the famous people who have lived and worked here? All these and more are produced by Rogue Media Network. There are over 80 different shows, including this one, with more coming all the time. If there's a story to tell, Rogue Media Network is telling it. Watch on YouTube or listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, fun. Semester's winding down. This is one of the really cool events, the Golden Bruisers, that we have here late in the semester to really celebrate, the people, student athletes, but the people that we have in Baylor Athletics.
Yeah, that's a great point. Such a big highlight for our student athletes. But you're right. I think the coaches, the staff, it's an event that people, when they see kind of the holistic view of what Baylor is all about, I think you get such a good picture of that at the Golden Bruiser. So it's one of my favorite things that Baylor Athletics does all year.
Yeah, and it is so first class.
Yeah.
I remember a few years ago when when Marcus got here, we made the transition to this event, at this level. Mm-hmm. I thought, whoa, this is nice.
Yeah.
It was really, really well done, and it continues to be to this day. So I look forward to it.
Me too. So
Get out your sneakers.
I know. I'm so excited.
Yeah,
I might have to buy a pair.
Of course you will. Thanks to Krista Smith being on with us, our guest today. Krista is the Director of Character Formation, our guest on the Sikkim Podcast. For the other K. Smith in the room, I'm John Morris. That is this week's Sikkim Podcast, powered by Rogue Media Network.
You've been listening to the Sikkim Podcast, powered by Rogue Media Network. The Sikkim Podcast is a production of Baylor Athletics.